Hey, what's going on, guys? Let me see how I can work this tripod. Oh. I'm not feeling this. I don't like this. What's up, guys? How we doing? It's KL. I'm not digging my new tripod. So how we doing? Oh, man. And hello to all the replay viewers. This is KLBELVIN. Let me just turn this music down a little bit. You know, I love doing my scopes with music. First and foremost, I want to thank God, and I want to give a shout out to the Literary Ladies Book Club. I had a wonderful event Saturday that I was invited to be a part of as a featured author, along with along with 5 other authors. And the beautiful thing, hey, how we doing? The beautiful thing about being an author and being somewhere with other authors, you're able to listen to some of their journey and listen to their pathway to how they did whatever. No, I do not speak Russian. And when listening to different authors' journeys, you start to realize how much you have in common. And it should create, I'm doing good. Some people would take, when they're around other peers in an industry, a sense of competition would flare up. When that happens, you actually can miss a lot of learning that can go on. So at the event, we had a lot of members from various book clubs that were there. It was a paid event, so the folks that were there paid to be there. And so it gave me an opportunity to interact with a lot of different people. And one of the things that I feel is when you're invited to be somewhere, when you're invited to attend a function that your name is on the flyer, you have to make sure that you give the proprietor everything that's necessary for them to have a successful event. Be all of you that you can be. And too often I see, now this didn't happen Saturday, but too often at events, I see folks who just remain extremely distant from the paying folks that are there. I always say to myself, please, Lord, don't allow me to get so full of myself that I forget where I came from and why I am where I'm at. So with that said, all day Saturday, I had committed myself to make sure that I went and that I was engaging, that I spoke to everyone, shook hands as much as I could, as well as when the time permitted to hold real, meaningful conversations. Not conversations that would direct people back to buying my books. They're there to listen and learn from the authors, and they're going to buy books if they want to buy books. So there's no reason to belabor the point of trying to continually hustle when folks are already there. If they're there, they paid to be there, and they didn't come for no reason. So I was saying to myself, okay, so now in listening to my fellow authors, one of the things that I realized is that you really need to immerse yourself in your talent. I've never had a problem with that, but it was great to see how the other authors were speaking about how they came about with their ideas, where they started from, what are some of their positives and negatives to every aspect of the industry. And the fact that we're on all different levels, it's still motivation, because when you see someone say that they're a New York Times bestseller or they're Ebony Essence, what all the different bestseller lists, and they're sitting across from you, you know that you're on the right path, because here we are under the same roof doing the same things, even though we may be at different levels in the industry. And it is very easy for your competitive juices to start to flare up. There's no reason. At that point, you got to be a sponge, take in as much as you can from this moment, because you may not have the opportunity to sit with these gentlemen again. You hope that that's the case. Let me turn this off. You hope that that's the case. You hope that you get the opportunity to be somewhere with them again, so you can actually have that opportunity to absorb knowledge. And one of the things that I have done in my travels, thank you so hearts. Thank you for inviting folks. Please do. Please keep hearting it up. Appreciate it. And so what I do anytime that I'm somewhere with authors that I've seen, I want to talk. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what you've done. Go back to mommy, baby. I want to know what you've done. I'm not even sure where that question came from. Yes, I was here in New York. Yes, I was teaching at that time, but I don't really know where that question came from. Did I see? I've experienced it, and I've lost some people to that tragedy. So that's not a place that I want to go to right now. That's not what this scope is about. I appreciate it. Thank you for the question. But and you also have to know that, yes, when you're selling your books and you're sitting there with 5 other authors selling their books, you can't stress what another author does. That's another thing I've seen happen at events, that authors will literally clock how many people a different author has sold books to. Should not matter. Should not matter at all. Yes, that was crazy, but like I said, that's not what this is about. I'd rather not block you over it. So just we'll talk about that another day. If you want to reach out about 9/11, main office at bravenpublishing.com. That's my email, and we can discuss that. Like I said, that's not really a day I really want to discuss right now, but thank you so much. And so when you're looking at, I have authors come over and they're looking, and I've been in a place where I'm doing extremely well, and authors will come over and they want to make light of it, but what they're really doing is jockeying for information. Man, listen, my thing is learn about what you could do differently. Try to get some tips or things that can be added to your repertoire, things that you might not have thought about, as well as the biggest thing when involved with so many people in a room like that: network. Shake hands, give out your business cards, exchange ideas, ask how people are enjoying the event and what do they think could be added, taken away. Just so going forward, if you ever wanted to do something like that for yourself, you'd have some insider information. But just to get something to talk about where people could remember who you are. So when it is time to sell books, you might be the first table they come to. And don't stress how many people go to somebody else's table, because they may turn around and come right back to your table afterwards. And that's another thing that authors have to learn, is patience. If you're there for 8 hours, be there for the 8 hours, because so many sales can happen in the last half an hour to 45 minutes that you complain or huff and puff about an event. And if you just hung in there till the end, there's a run on what you're doing. Also, during the event, did you give people an opportunity to see you as something a little bit different? One of the things that I wanted to do Saturday was, I had been told that they were going to ask us to read from our work. And I have no problem reading. Listen, I'm an excellent reader. I'm an excellent writer too. But one of the things that I thought about was, people, thank you for the hearts, by the way. People are used to that. That's just not me. I'm an animated dude. So I asked the MC, can I do something different? So I did an imagery exercise. I asked the crowd to close their eyes, and I walked them through an imagery exercise about one of the characters. Yes, networking is the key, definitely. And I had them walk through, asking them questions about what did they see when I mentioned this, and we talked about the different characters in my book. And then at the end, when I gave them a suggestion, I said, now, if you want the answer, you got to come see me later and pick up the book. And how I know it worked is later on, people said, well, which was that book you were talking about when you had us close our eyes? They connected with me. They connected with the activity, and then they connected it back to the book, which allowed me to sell books. You have to give people something. You have to give people a reason to remember you. When I'm in my classroom, I want students to connect to what I'm attempting to teach. And it can't just be do it because I said do it. That's always the bottom line. I'm trying to give it. I want you to get it. But if a child refuses, if a child just outright refuses, you're not reaching that child. So with adults, it's no different. If an adult is not digging you, then nothing you're going to do is going to make them want to support you or purchase something from you. So your best bet, your best opportunity is give them something to connect to. Give them a reason to go, I like the way he speaks. I like the subjects that he's discussing. I think I want to support him. I want to get one of his books. You also make the books interesting by giving folks reasons why you wrote the book. Why is this book a book that they should read? Now, my particular book, Lukewarm Saint, was designed to create thought. So why would I create a book that was designed to create thought and then not talk about it? And so for me, let's see, my titles, there we go. And so for me, I just find that it's necessary. I always wonder why folks just don't do more, especially authors do more. Now, some of the readings were incredible. Some of the readings were just outstanding. Listening to the authors, and actually I'm going to share with you what I'm talking about that. Here's the cover of my new book, Lukewarm Saint. Some of the authors that we're reading it was incredible the way they brought their stories to life. And that was another thing that I had taken in from the other authors that, when given the opportunity to read, I will make sure that I read it the way that I written it. So I'm going to read it the way I expect the readers to be able to take it in. So that's my latest book, Lukewarm Saint. It's actually inspirational fiction, written to create the thought about the choices that we make as adults based on the things that we want. Too often we could know something is wrong, but we'll turn around and still do what we know is wrong and then kind of debate with ourselves. Why'd I do that? Whatever. So the idea is that I wanted to create thought about what's it going to take to make certain choices. What are you willing to risk to make certain choices? And this cover here is of my second book, From Gigolo to Jesus, which is actually nonfiction, which is actually my personal testimony of transformation. How I went from being a misogynistic whore to a man of God and a loving husband. And that transformation wasn't an easy one, but sometimes when your paradigm shifts and now you don't see the world as you used to see it, you now have required work to do to be able to hold up to be the new you, because the old you starts to look very pleasant when you're fighting to remain the new you. And as a counselor, as a speaker, as a mentor, one of the things that I speak to a lot of adults about is the fear of the unknown will drive many back to a negative known. Thank you so much. People in the Bible, the people of Israel were fearful of where God was leading them. So many of them wanted to go back to bondage. And we saw that in modern day slavery. Many of the slaves just accepted slavery and said, this is just the way it is, and gave up wanting to run away and started to try to make it acceptable. And you see it today. You have folks who are in negative situations and have just said, well, this is all that there is in the world. Even though there's someone standing in front of them that may come from the same place saying, this is not all there is in the world. So we have to continue to offer to others ways to make those changes. And this is what I do. This is what I put together, and this is what I put together in my writing. This is what I put together when I'm out. I attempt to give folks something that will connect them to me. I am not a one-trick pony, so there's many subjects that I wear many hats on that I can discuss. That's another thing that drives me crazy, is that authors don't want to seem to get away from what they've written. Well, you're a complete person. Let's talk about the things that make you a complete person, and the books are just one part of it. June 4th, coming June 4th, I'll be in Detroit, invited by Otis Bellinger. The Greatness in You. If you're not following him, please follow him. My brother Glenn Brooks, he just was on today. Make sure you follow him also. Regina Poole, or Powell, I got to check. I think it's Poole. She's another one that's outstanding in terms of giving you information to help you to think. Melinda Harper, another young lady that I've worked with, is someone else. Nikki P. Serene, another sister that I work with and have gotten to know over the years, is fantastic. And she's someone that you should check out. So again, you want to engage yourself with folks who are going to allow you to think and think on a deeper level. And this is what I do when I'm out. This is what I do in my scopes. This is what I do when I'm at events. is I want to connect with everyone there. I'm a social butterfly, and that's another thing that I think you have to be when you're in business for yourself, as well as you have products that are designed for information as well as entertainment. You need to make yourself accessible. You need to draw people in by being accessible as much as possible. Now, don't get me wrong. If it's going to create a problem, or it starts to create a backup and causes an interruption in the event, then you can't do it. But if the event is one that it is designed to have that type of intimate connection, then by all means, you need to be out and about and giving people their money's worth. Because once a person believes that they've gotten their money's worth, they will look to support you in the future. They will tell others to support you in the future. Thank you so much for rejoining. And this Saturday was just incredible for that. I have a new motivation for some things that I want to do literary wise, that it had been a while. And it was just so great to be a part of the event. And the interesting thing about this event was I was a vendor back in 2010. Yeah, 2010, I was a vendor at this event, looking at fellow authors, thinking, I want to be, yes, my books are available electronically. It should be on Google Books. Just check out any of the titles, Lukewarm Saint or From Gigolo to Jesus. If not, I know they're on Amazon digitally if you want to get them that way. Physically, I always say go to my website, but digitally you can go to Amazon and many other places, but it should be, especially From Gigolo to Jesus, definitely should be, no problem. But we have to, so I sat down and I thought to myself, like, I was sitting there as a vendor saying, I one day want to be one of those pampered authors, because I was looking, I said, yo, it seems like everything's done for them, tables set up, and I see the people flocking to buy their books, and here I'm off to the side just hoping to get the spillover. You make a couple of sales, but when you know people are there to see other people, you can only do but so much. You can only try to offer so much, and you hope that, people will just come over because they like to read. And I was able to sell some books, but nothing like what I saw going on. It was almost like looking through the window at someone's prom or someone's party, and it's like you're there, but you're not really there. I wasn't in the VIP section, let's call it like that. So here's 6 years later or 5 years later, when I got the call asking me to be a part, I was like, I couldn't wait, because I was like, wow, I had said back then I'm going to be this. And so here it was, 2005 going into 2015 going into 2016, I was invited to be a featured author. And I was not going to let this opportunity go to waste when I knew there would be other members of other book clubs there that I might have did business with, might not have. And I saw some very familiar faces that I had only got to speak to online. So now finally getting a chance to shake hands, have dialogue. I got a chance to talk to some folks who I speak to on a regular, via the phone, via the computer, but finally a chance to sit down and having a moment and some laughter. And that's another big thing that I'm about, is you got to enjoy yourself. You cannot take yourself so seriously. What is my job? Okay, I am an educator. I am an author. I am a publisher who owns his own publishing company. I am a mentor. I am a speaker, as well as a father, as well as a husband and man of God. So all of those are my jobs. And I have multiple jobs that are all tied into each other. And this is what I do, as well as I'm a student, because I returned to grad school because I'm working on my second master's degree at the moment. So my second class actually starts today. And so I'm finished up this second class, and there'll be 8 more to go. So I'm walking away from teaching. I've been teaching 20 years. I wanted to do something different. So I decided to get education in the new area that I wanted to move into. As some people say, well, why would you want another degree? Why not? There's no such thing as having enough knowledge. And the more knowledge that I have, the more opportunities that I can create, and the more things that I can do with the knowledge that I obtain. So this is what I do. And so, again, back to Saturday's event, and finally getting a chance to meet a lot of people and then having conversations. And that's the other thing, too, is that some people don't know how to approach you. They know that you're one of the featured authors. They're not sure if you're a diva or not sure if you're somebody who wants to be bothered. And my thing is, you have to make sure that you let folks know I'm approachable. You let folks know, come on over, let's talk, let's get to know each other, because You purchasing my books is what allowed me to do what I do. Every author knows that. Every author knows that it is because of the readers that they have. Because you can sign any deal that you want. You won't have the deal. Applied knowledge is power always. And I'm so glad you said applied knowledge, because that's the other mistake that many of us make. We gain an understanding of something, but yet we don't go out and apply it. And I'm big on the applications. My face is cut off. Okay. How is it now? Can you see me now? How's that? Okay. I'm not sure why. How is that? But that's one of the things. Okay, cool. That's one of the things that I'm working on now is some ways to apply Bible study. I'm actually working on curriculum to work with churches to recreate Bible study curriculum that will attract young folks as well as young adults back to sitting and having found and open discussions about how we can apply certain aspects of the faith, as well as my counseling and my mentoring. It's also what I'm going back to school to work on, is designed to help people apply what we may sit down and uncover. So if we uncover a problem, okay, how do we now fix this? What is the application to go about eradicating this situation, this issue? And the knowledge that's needed is definitely something that I want to acquire, because I want to be able to help people. And my writing is a reflection of that. Do you like France, and what is your dream? Yes, I like France, and I don't have enough time in this scope to go over what my dreams are, but my dreams is to make a difference in this world. So everything that I do is with that focus, to make a difference in this world, to make a difference in the lives of the people that I deal with. Everything else is an extension of that dream. So to really go into more detail than that, we don't have enough time, nor do I want to stay on the scope and do that. But that is my ultimate dream, is to be able to sit down and try to help as many people as possible and know that I've made a difference before my time is up. And because I don't know when my time is going to be up, I have to go hard every day. And so every day I'm trying to do something. I appreciate that. I definitely do. I appreciate that. But I try not to rest on what I've done, because you can tend to get lazy. You can tend to get sidetracked. So to me, there's always somebody to help, and myself too. I make sure that I take care of me too, because that's the other thing too, is you have to make sure that you take care of home and you take care of self. And too often we miss that too. Working with folks, working with relationships. That's another thing that my wife and I we have a movement, Making Marriage Cool Again, is designed to get people to see marriage in a different light. Marriage is not something that should be disposable. Marriage is not something that should be taken lightly. And somehow marriage has been reduced to something that it really was not meant to be reduced to. We have lumped marriage into like clothes that you can they're interchangeable, and you can just discard the clothes in your marriage like you do the clothes. No. So what my wife and I are trying to do by living our lives transparently is to show folks, that your focus with marriage should be lifetime, not right now. And if you're not ready to get married, be comfortable with just being by yourself. Be comfortable dating. There's nothing wrong. Marriage is very serious business. Listen, it should be. And when you say life or death, which is what marriage should be connected to for the rest of your life until death, which is what you fanny. Okay, I guess you meant funny, but okay, my fanny. I don't even know where to take that one. But it is serious business. But somehow we've allowed television and a lot of other things that are not productive or positive to focus our thoughts on marriage. And I'm trying to help restore that also. Part of that making a difference that I just mentioned. And I have decided to just do more events, show up at more events. I'm working with Keisha Green. Shout out to Keisha Green, who's putting together an event this coming May, where I can sit down with some folks and have an intimate conversation, a chat and chew. That's what we're calling it. 20 folks, I think it is, 15 to 20 folks will get together, have an intimate conversation, talk about some of the things in my books, just talk about some things in life. And again, an attempt to try to make things better for somebody else. And to me, these are the things that I get excited by, because it means I'll be dealing with people directly. The reason why I've never become a principal over the 20 years of teaching, I never really wanted to get away from the grassroots and having my feet on the ground in the classroom. I like dealing, like this year I'm working with elementary kids. It's actually an interesting and extremely rewarding change after all those years of working with middle school and high school kids. None of the negative language, not having to break up any fights. And I can deal with the parents' lofty expectations of their child. It's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But it is definitely a vast difference working with elementary kids compared to the middle school and high school kids. And but back to the point at hand is that when you're around other people in whatever industry that you're in, don't let competition or the thought and the feelings of competition drive you past what could be an opportunity to do some real outstanding learning. When you're in the presence of somebody who has done more than you in whatever industry that you're in, don't get starstruck. Don't get to the point that you can't see that this might be a great opportunity to ask them some questions. And now you ask the question, they blow you off. Okay, that's a learning experience too. You just learn how you don't want to be. So every opportunity is an opportunity to learn if you actually look at it that way. And new motivation should be the result. Like, I am so motivated to do more of the things that happen on Saturday that those things are already in place. The event on May 14th in Woodbridge, New Jersey is a direct reflection to Keisha Green and I finally getting a chance to meet on Saturday, her getting a chance to see what I do on Saturday. So now she wants to continue her work with me. Now we're going to go forward to work in May. Otis Bellinger, shout out to Greatness in You here on Periscope. I heard him on his Periscopes. I've gotten a chance to listen to him. Now we're going to be working together this coming June at Wayne State University in Detroit, building better relationships. Glenn P. Brooks, brother like was just on. I had the opportunity to have him on one of my scopes, and I've been listening to his scopes. He's down in the Virginia area. Him and I are definitely going to connect and start doing some things together also. So again, I'm not worried about competition. As Otis would say, it's about mobilization, and I'm about that. I'm like, my new motivation is to continue to do more of the things that I've been doing. And as I said, my dream is to make a difference in the lives of others. Yes, I'm doing it, but I want to do more. I want to do more because in doing more, it's going to allow me to do more for other people, do more for my family, and of course, do more for myself and to serve my faith in the proper way. Because by doing more for others, I know I'm doing what God has asked me to do, and I'm excited by that. I can't speak for other people, but I can speak for myself that I'm excited with the idea of doing more for the God that I pray to. And it has nothing to do with indoctrinating people to my faith. It's just what I use as the foundation of my motivation. Even though my motivation changes in terms of it, and it increases. But the one thing that I am always going to be motivated by is to serve God. Just simple as that. So let me get ready to go. I have some work to do. I actually have to bowl tonight. Yes, I bowled too. Close to 200 average, about 200. This season, not so. I'm struggling this season, but normally I'm around 200 average. It is what it is. But I do bowl for money, the wife and I, our opportunity to be out the house and spend some time with each other. So again, if you're watching this, make sure you stop by my website, bravenpublishing.com, www.bravenpublishing.com. Have a blessed day, brother. bravenpublishing.com. I'm on Facebook, KLBELVIN. I am on Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, LinkedIn. Just look for KLBELVIN. Actually, on Twitter, it's KL_ excuse me, KL_Belvin. My titles. My very first book was Poetry, A Man in Transition. My second book was From Gigolo to Jesus, which is my nonfiction book. It is my memoir, my testimony of my personal transformation. And my most recent book is Lukewarm Saint, which is inspirational fiction. I am also a part of a few anthologies. Actually, let me see if I can bring those up for you to check out. I'm a part of a few anthologies. Yeah, I have them right here. So let me bring up one. This one I was a part of in 2009. Soul of a Man Part 1. We actually won Anthology of the Year. It is, oh, that's me we were in Ebony Magazine from 2012. Let me switch that back. Okay. Yeah, Soul of a Man, Part 1. We were actually 2009 Anthology of the Year. 13 brothers came together writing stories of men overcoming negative situations through our faith, some fiction, some nonfiction. And so the next one and the latest one came out this year, Soul of a Man Part 2. Let me back that up. As you see, 18 brothers this time. Soul of a Man Part 2, we came together to show that men of color can actually lay down some stories that are touching and heartwarming and just a little bit of everything, just to take away some of the negative connotations that are connected to men of color as well as authors of color. And so I am very proud of both of the books and proud of both the stories. In Soul of a Man 1, I have a fictional story, and in Soul of a Man 2, it is a non-fictional story. It's actually about how my father and I connected. Now, if you have Ebony Magazine from 2012, you will see that my wife and I were a part of Ebony Magazine in 2012. It is the February issue, and actually it is the Red Tails issue. When the movie Red Tails was coming out and all the hoopla, Ebony did a Black Love issue. And in that Black Love issue was my wife and I. And let me see, I don't know if I can, yeah, there we go. It was my wife and I, and that is us, how we talked about how we survived infidelity, check baby mama drama, and all that, and talks about love doesn't hurt. Actually, the article was written by my wife about us, and it was accepted by Ebony Magazine, and so they featured us, and they featured my wife's writing, which I am trying to convince her to go ahead and finish her book, because when you actually see the book that my wife is planning, A Guide on Women Regaining Their Dignity, it's a banger. I just got to get her to sit down and finish, so I'm working on that. So that's my hardest motivational job right now, is get my wife to commit to finishing her book. But her article right here in Ebony Magazine was us in 2012, and it's actually their Black Love issue. So, and if you want to see the cover, that was the cover that I just showed you. This is the cover. So if you have that Ebony Magazine there, the Red Tails issue, you'll see it is the Black Love issue. That issue is the one that my wife and I are in. And just check us out. And so we have been doing this for a while. We have been working on trying to change relationships for a while. We use our own relationship as a form of transparency. So folks can see that we're not just talking about it, we're living it. And then when we go out, for you, Trump, is that, am I for Trump? I'm not, no. I don't see myself voting for Trump, no. But it's like I said, and that's another reason why I'm also transparent in the things that I do with my book, From Gigolo to Jesus, is by putting all of my dirt on the table, putting my history and my personal transformation on the table. It is to give men an opportunity to see themselves and know that they can change. Also, it is to allow women to be able to read it and go, wow, my husband is like that. My boyfriend is like that. My father was like that. My brother was like that. My son is like that. So it gives an opportunity to read it and say, okay, but now what can we do? And that's who I used to be, not who I am now. And to get people to change, they first must acknowledge that they need to change. You can't change anyone because you want them to change. They have to want to change. And that's actually what my second book was built for, to give people an insight to what I've done, how I did it, what I've done, and then how I was able to let all that go to become the man I am now, between God and my wife. If it wasn't for God and my wife, I wouldn't be here, because I had to really listen to what both of them were saying to me and then accept, humble myself, and know that I needed to make changes. And that's what I did. And so that's where my latest book, Lukewarm Saint, is connected to that, because in writing fiction, I decided to write a character who's torn between what he loves, which is the women, to what he knows is right, and that's not having all these women and doing the things that he does with these women. He has a mother and grandmother that's telling him, his name is Kevin, is telling Kevin that, you shouldn't be like your father and your grandfather, because women is what did them in. You have to check out the book to understand why. And then he has two friends. One friend that says, man, you bed down as many women as you can. And another friend that's like, listen, let it go. You know, I left these streets alone to focus on my marriage and God. And he's trying to get his friend to make some of the same transformations. The question is, what will it take for a person to change? And, okay, we have to ask ourselves that. What will it take for us to change? For some of us, we can do it on our own. For some of us, we can do it with assistance. For some of us, something negative has to happen for us to really say, I think it's time. So what I decided to do with the book is to create a scenario, create a situation that maybe you can look and see yourself in, or someone else that you know. And that is the inspirational fiction written Lukewarm Saint. And the term lukewarm, nobody wants somebody lukewarm. You don't want a lukewarm friend. You don't want a friend that seems to be about you one day and not about you the next day. And God definitely doesn't want you to be lukewarm when dealing with the faith. So you don't even like, well, I like lukewarm pizza, but that's just me. But some people like it hot or cold. But either way, no one wants to be lukewarm. And that's what I want you to check out when reading the book. So let me get ready to go. My email is mainoffice@bravinpublishing.com. That's mainoffice@BRAVIN publishing.com. And as I said, my website is bravinpublishing.com, and I am on all social networks. You can find me wherever you need me. Just look out. And if you want me to come and sit down, occupy Wall Street, okay, listen, not a problem. I supported those folks. Do what you got to do. If you want to get together, we can set something up. If you want to set up counseling, we can set up that also. You need somebody to pray with or for, reach out. We can definitely set some things up, and look out for my future calendar. I'll be having my calendar. I will have my calendar posted so you can see what I'm doing, where I'm going to be at. Right now, I know it's Chicago in July, Detroit in June, Woodbridge, New Jersey in May. I'll be in Delaware also in June. I believe Maryland and Delaware in August. And I'm trying to think where else in July. But anyway, I will definitely post all the sites and stops that I'll be at. I look forward to seeing you. And if you're someone that I've only met in cyberspace, I hope that you introduce yourself when we have the chance, when we're in public. I'm actually a very engaging person. Feel free. Okay? Have a wonderful day, guys. I hope I have been a blessing. Take care. God bless. Hardest thing about scoping is to end the scopes. Actually, you know what? Before I let y'all go, where's my music here? Bum, 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 bum. While I'm sitting there waiting to play a track, anybody have any questions, feel free. Okay. Let me get ready to jump off this thing. Have a wonderful day, guys.